Hi there, my name is Jonathan Baumgart. I'm the CEO of Atomiq Consulting. In today's video, I want to discuss the use case for Bitcoin, blockchain technology, and my overall opinion on cryptocurrency. So let's get started. Great. So what I'd like to do with this video and others is branch out a bit. Now, my focus in most of the videos that I make surround the industry I'm in, which is FX and CFD trading, primarily online. There's a lot of overlap, though, when it comes to finance and economics, and I'd like to share my perspective. Now, why should you listen to me if you've never seen any of my other videos? Well, I like to focus on areas I'm familiar with, and to provide some brief background, I began my career in currency trading starting in the year 2005. So I have quite a lot of experience. Back then, I worked for a broker called FXCM when they were just getting started and very new, and that began the career that I still have today, except now I'm doing consulting work. So why you should listen to me is I have a lot of experience. I was around before cryptocurrency. I watched it develop. I have my own thoughts when it first came out. I was skeptical, but now I fully understand it. It's something I'm interested in. And so I want to share my opinion coming from a background in currencies. And I would say my opinion is a bit stronger than others because I have a background in currencies, because I have finance. And this video is purely for information. I'm sharing my view. I'm not trying to sell you anything besides myself, in the sense that I would appreciate what your thoughts are on my opinion. Now, this video will be a bit longer than most because I'm going to talk about basically two separate subjects: the use case for Bitcoin and then my opinion on blockchain technology. And they're a little bit different because I don't view them exactly as the same. So most of my videos average 10 or 15 minutes. I think this one will go on longer, so just bear that in mind. What I'm going to start with is the use case for Bitcoin. Okay, so in my opinion, many people say, look, what is Bitcoin? I can't find its purpose. A lot of people who just have a surface level knowledge often say, what value does it add? What is it? And here I think it's important to understand how money works in general, that just because we have this very developed fiat system that is quasi-electronic as well, because you have paper money and then you have money sitting in bank accounts online, it's a hybrid of both. That's not how most of the world is operated. And to this day, we still have various forms of money that are different from paper or the other system, depending on where you go. Crypto is something new and has kind of been a paradigm shift that most people alive haven't seen. But if you were to even go back, and let's say you're in America, going back 150 years, a lot of the coins in America were made out of silver, for example, and the whole value was based on that. It wasn't like now where you have a coin and it's just based on paper. Also, and if you look at the United States history, there was all kinds of different kinds of money. When America had the Civil War, you had Confederate money and Union money. So even America's history of finance and money wasn't just dollars from day one. And you had all kinds of bank runs and busts and different kinds of money. So the idea here is that Bitcoin is no different. Now, if you look at money itself, and I'm going to go even back further, there's money, and what is viewed as money is always taken different shapes and forms. I mean, people often laugh that money used to be pearls, but I don't know how true this is, but I think the idea is that to actually get a pearl, to go hunt for it, to find it, to get it out, took about a day's time. So it represented labor, which very much is what money represents now. I mean, you work and you get a paycheck and you exchange that money, your labor, for goods and services. I see Bitcoin as being no different. So when people say, what is this all about? Well, let's look at some of the properties of money, and does Bitcoin fulfill it? So, store of value. Now, here's kind of tricky because Bitcoin is extremely volatile. You could have bought Bitcoin at one of the cycle tops and lost your shirt because maybe you bought Bitcoin at around 65,000 in late 2021. It went all the way down to 12,000. You can say, what store of value is this? Of course, if you held it, and now, as of this recording, Bitcoin is a little over 100,000, you would say, hey, that worked out. It's still a store of value. I mean, of course, Bitcoin did not go to zero. It did drop, but you could still exchange it for some fiat currency or for something, even at the lowest point it had, which was around 12,000 in the fall of 2022. It still acts as a store of value, though, to this day. And now we have stable coins. Now, I'm not going to talk about that too much, but the whole idea of stable coins is to prevent that volatility, okay? Unit of account is another way that you measure money. Well, Bitcoin is always quoted against another currency. Now, if you talk to someone like Michael Saylor, he'll say 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin. What this means is he's a maximalist. He's not even comparing Bitcoin to fiat. He doesn't like this reference. He's saying, no, a Bitcoin is in itself inherent value. In any case, I don't want to get into that discussion, but in terms of a unit of account, meaning can you reference something? Yes. Bitcoin always has an active price that's quoted against US dollar. And then a medium of exchange. Bitcoin also serves that purpose. Now, I think there was a certain time where people said, I'm going to buy my coffee with Bitcoin and everything else. And some people did. You probably heard of the very famous pizza case where someone bought a pizza with now what would have probably been like 500 million Bitcoin. This will also be covered in the next area, but Bitcoin itself still can act as a medium of exchange. And to this day, people trade things for Bitcoin, goods and services. So if you want to look at the definition and properties of money, Bitcoin fulfills all of this criteria. So why should it not be counted as money? Something to think about if you're wondering on the use case of Bitcoin is, let's say an alien came to the world and saw all these people taking paper and exchanging them for coffees, for food, for cars, for homes, and everything else. Well, they would kind of think, that's odd, but it's all based on faith. If I'm in Europe, for example, and I want to buy a very nice watch, and I have 5,000 euros or 10,000 euros, it's just paper, but I can get a watch that's equivalent of value. I can do the same with Bitcoin. This is my use case. This is my argument for Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying to invest in it. I'm not saying to buy. That's not the purpose. I just want people to understand why Bitcoin fits all the property of money. And I think for non-financial experts or people in other fields, just to dismiss it and just say, that's just some speculative hype. It's true. That is true. And here I will defend Bitcoin. Yes, there are a lot of scams around cryptocurrency. But it's so funny people mention that when everyone always loves this movie Wolf of Wall Street. Well, what was Jordan Belfort doing? He was scamming people with stocks. And that still happens to this day. It's just Bitcoin is very volatile. It makes a lot of returns for very high returns for people, sometimes losses. As a result, it lends itself to scams. But that's not an inherent property of Bitcoin, no more than stocks are. I mean, Jordan Belfort scammed many people in the 80s. A lot of people lost money investing in these scam stocks. But a lot of people who invested in companies in the 80s like Apple, AT&T, I can't think of so many that still exist or weren't merged away. I mean, you would be famously rich right now. Was it the stocks that scam people? No. So a lot of people immediately associate crypto with scams or SBF, but those are the scammers. And my whole point is there's scams on gold, there's scams on everything. So I don't like that association. But in any case, this is my argument and use case for Bitcoin. Now I want to discuss the blockchain technology, which is what Bitcoin is built upon, and how that has revolutionized payments. And this is an area that I have a lot of expertise in and I'd like to speak about. So I like to separate Bitcoin from blockchain technology. The main reason is Bitcoin is one of many other coins. And stable coins developed from blockchain technology. Now, I think stable coins present an amazing opportunity for the future of payments. And the way I argue is the following. We do so much now on the internet, but we take something, a credit card or a debit card, analog, meaning something from the physical world, and we put it into our computers or phones. That to me is a bit odd. It's a bit strange. Why not have the internet of money? And to me, that's all the blockchain technology is doing. You already have the internet, you have your data on there, you may have a bank account on there, but you're still using the old school system. Well, all cryptocurrency or blockchain technology does is bring the internet of money to you. Now you could say, but we already have PayPal. There's a lot of reasons why PayPal is not the same, and I'll get into that. But I'm going to provide a couple of examples or use cases of how blockchain technology is efficient. So let's start with one, which is, and I think this is the best use case, which is international payment settlement. So if you're familiar with Ripple, this is the idea behind Ripple XRP if you're trading it. Now it hasn't been fully adopted, but it's still kind of a concept idea. But the idea is to harmonize international payments. Now I happen to work in international finance, I do consulting, and so I have clients all over the world. And let me tell you how the world still works today. I'm in the United States, and let's say we have a client in Japan, okay? And I want to get a wire from that client. Now, first of all, banks are notorious for all kinds of red tape, all kinds of policies, and everything else. So many times, even before initiating a wire, if it's a relatively big one, meaning like over 10,000, you have to submit all kinds of paperwork to the bank. This is annoying, and granted, it wouldn't go away with blockchain technology, but you can circumvent it, which is one of the big advantages of it. But we'll put that aside. I don't want to get lost in the weeds here. In general, if I wanted to get a wire from Japan and it's a larger amount, the bank may need my ID, they may need to see an agreement and everything else. Fine, they get all of that. We have another problem. Let's say it's Friday afternoon in Japan or getting towards later in the day. Maybe after all the documents were sent to that bank and everything was ready, they're closed. Everyone goes home, okay? Well, I'm sitting here in the United States, and that means my wire doesn't even get sent out yet, okay? Well, banks don't work on the weekends, so I gotta wait until Monday. Let's say finally it's processed. Now I have an advantage. The time zone in Japan is ahead of the United States, so the wire goes out. But guess what? American banks aren't open, and instant wire transfers aren't possible in this method. And it's impossible to get a wire in the same. I'm sure there's ways, but usually if you're just an average person, it will take some time for that wire to appear. On average, 3 to 5 business days. So that wire that I requested on Friday could not arrive, could very possibly arrive or could not be here until that following Friday. Now that's crazy. That's like the equivalent of the fax machine. With blockchain technology, I could use Bitcoin, but more common are stable coins because there's no volatility then. I can get that in 5 minutes. I mean, by the time you watch this video, that transaction is already settled. That's the future. And it can be done on the weekend. So let's say I have a friend in Japan, they want to send me crypto and it's 2 a.m. on a Friday night in Japan. I can receive it at the same time. I don't have to worry about banks. I don't have to worry about any of this. And crypto companies are starting now to get more regulated and they have the same red tape, but there's ways around that. I don't want to go into tangents, but you don't need banks, which is another advantage of cryptocurrency. That comes with its own set of challenges. But just on the idea of international payment settlement, crypto is no faster. Additionally, there's all kinds of exchange controls in many parts of the world, in India, South Africa, to name a few. Blockchain circumvents this. Not in a bad way, it just overcomes local challenges that people face. Maybe someone in South Africa wants to quickly get money out of the country. It's very tough. With crypto, it gets around that. So that's one of the main use cases. Let's talk locally. Now we'll come into the second example, which is the US. So I mentioned PayPal, and you may say, why do I need blockchain technology? I have PayPal. I have a PayPal account. I have to pay money. I believe like 3 or 4% if I instantly want the funds to settle into my bank account. That's not the case with crypto. If I wanted to receive crypto, the fees are significantly cheaper than PayPal, and I can get it like that. I can get it just about instantly. Tron network, which I don't want to go too much in a tangent, is one of the faster networks where settlement happens very, very fast. An additional point, it could just be my banking. I have multiple bank accounts in the US. Now, if I want to move money intra-bank, meaning within one bank account to someone else's account, that's instant. That's more or less instant. But if I have 2 different bank accounts, and maybe it's just the ones I have, if I want to move money between them, I have to often wait 4 business days sometimes. Crypto or PayPal, PayPal is a little bit faster, but still not much. But crypto, boom, I can have that money instantly. So these are just a couple of examples of the value I see in blockchain technology and why I say it's going to revolutionize things. Now, I'm not one of these I'm against banks and maxis and everything else. I still think there's a value for banks, but I'm just saying this technology is superior because there is no faster way right now to move money around the world than using blockchain technology. The current system we have, SWIFT is kind of the American-led one, is too archaic. It's the fax machine. I'm not saying it has to go, but eventually I think cryptocurrency will take over. This has nothing to do with scams. I'm fully fine with all this being regulated. I just like the idea it's fast because that's great for the world. That means business can be conducted faster. Because let's go back to my example with Japan. If you have to wait a week for a wire, that just slows down everything. It slows down your business. It slows down your life, essentially. And this is where I think crypto is the future of payments. So now I want to kind of summarize everything. So thank you for checking out this video. I mean, I've only scratched the surface. This video is more or less a teaser, just an idea for me to argue why I believe in Bitcoin, why I believe in blockchain technology. There are long videos, all kinds of information out there. I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring and provide my experience, the reasons why I like blockchain technology, and I'm a proponent of it. And I wish to say, once again, the last point I'll make on it is that let's put the scams aside. Scams impact all industries. I think there's a massive future for blockchain. If you're someone young, the more you learn about cryptocurrency, the bigger edge you'll have because it is still very, very early days. I'm not talking about Bitcoin price. That's something else, which is wild and unpredictable. Most likely it will crash well below 100,000, but please, it's not a financial prediction or advice. I'm just saying, based on the previous history of Bitcoin, it is volatile. Don't expect it to always stay where it is. The technology itself is not going away. And if you learn more about blockchain technology now, you'll have an edge because it is coming whether you like it or not. Similar to the internet, which many people dismissed and had early adoption, those who get into crypto early, I'm not saying buying it, just understanding it, learning, have major advantages. Because this is what I've seen in my career, having started in currency trading and now learning more about crypto. And I'll be the first to admit, I know so little. So maybe this video will inspire you to learn more, or at least cleared some doubts you had about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So thank you for checking out the video. If you have comments, if you wanted to hear my thoughts on a different subject related to economics, let me know. I've done videos in the past on BRICS, this currency union, on the petrodollar, anything in the realm of finance. Do let me know, and I'd be happy to provide you my thoughts, within time. So thank you for checking out this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you liked it, so you'll be notified when I produce more. So speak to you soon.